There is the hooter for the opening of our match, the first of our semi-finals that we are going to get to stream here. It's Blue Skies from Nelson facing off against Auckland's Euphoria. My name, as always, is Blair Munro. This is the opening pull. Anthony Haney, Billy Race, Skyrus himself putting the disc up. I'm joined in the booth by Kelsey Bielik, and what a pleasure it is.
Thanks, Blair. It's lovely to be here with you guys as well. What a bid to set the tempo and the energy for this game.
Textbook Campbell Jordan, honestly, but we're going to see Edmonds with the disc now. Marked down by Haney. Not really able to get free, has to go up over the top. It's Mincher with the disc as Morris looks to close and really apply that defensive pressure early. We see Crane coming back to provide that reset option. Wenzel on an undercut marked by Forder.
Oh, and a bobble.
Tips through the hands of Edmonds, and it's going to be Auckland Euphoria with an opportunity to set up an early break here. Campbell, yes. Jordan with the disc to initiate.
Strong energy they're bringing out on defense to result in that turnover. Nice around throw, centering the disc to Haney as he looks for a slicey open side cut. Maybe that's why there was so much celebration, so much separation. Sorry, we're seeing a pick called on the field.
So just to clarify, for those watching at home, a pick occurs when a player's ability to follow their offensive counterpart on defense is impeded by the movement or positioning of another player. Great work by Jordan to keep that disc moving. Haney underneath it, looks for Allen, center field, right in front of the end zone. They're not too far away from putting the first break on the board. Big hammer from the man himself to Dan Forder.
Very clean, and it's so hard to defend. You know, looks like that when you're downfield. I think defense was absolutely in position where he needed to be to make, you know, defend everything. But when it's going to the brick side, it's really not, arguably not as much your responsibility to be defending the break side as closely as other positions. It's up to the mark to stop those great throws, but how can you stop a hammer like that? Haney putting it up, showing us how it's done.
Absolutely. Dan Forder underneath that one, absolutely dedicating that to his wife Gigi, who's watching from Auckland. What better way to reward her than with a hammer from Haney to Forder? We're going to see Euphoria come back out on defense, so it's Anthony Haney going to pull again. Kind of a really great path through the tournament for Euphoria at the moment. Just a fantastic disc, nice into wide open space.
And I just want to comment also on the tempo and the play style and what we saw there. We saw Euphoria bringing out the energy and bringing out a lot of quick movement. It's something that we saw in our last game from Hive as well. I'm wondering if this is kind of Auckland's and Auckland playing style with a lot of fast movement, finding those open options and high energy to push through, push through the points and put points on the board. A potential downside of this is that we did see in the last game with Hive just going a bit too fast for their feet, making some bobbles. So hopefully Euphoria won't be plagued by those same issues. This goes up, Crane looking deep, Haney chasing underneath it.
What a layout grab.
It's an incredible D.
Huge play there.
That was, an incredible display of athleticism by Haney. Nice underthrow.
Campbell Jordan open on the near sideline, putting the shot up, looking for Pentanople.
Stern and hot pursuit, but it goes too far.
Just slightly overthrown. Not going to walk away with that one this time. So we're going to see what happens as Blue Skies walk back along the field. What a highlight play.
Highlight reel right there.
Mincha has the disc now, threads across to Emery Crane. It's 11 versus 11. Oh no, Campbell Jordan playing out of number 9, Anthony Haney playing in number 11. It's Mercer with the disc now.
Looking to Crane again, and Crane has been such a linchpin, such a solid presence in the handler space. He's such a key player, opening up opportunities for Blue Skies here. Now Dudley Besto with the disc.
Puts through to Hippolyte. Ratapu Hippolyte comes around with the backhand, finding a wide open Crane as Jordan closes the jaws.
Crane faking, looking at options, looking at the deep space. Dudley Besto coming in on the break side. The disc goes up. And not
Eaten
sure
up.
what it was for, but also there were limited options. Euphoria plays some really strong defense there. The disc goes deep and overthrown again. So that's 2 overthrows this point from Euphoria. I wonder what that interesting, I don't know, what's the opposite of a celebration? What was Haney doing there?
Commiseration, I think. But we'll see what happens. Either way, it's going to be Hippolyte and Crane to pick up and initiate as we see Blue Skies from Nelson playing out of a vertical stack. Now, just a reminder for those watching at home, this is the 2024 Division 2 New Zealand Ultimate Championships. We have a fantastic semi-final ahead of you so far. Some great tempo setting by Euphoria, but Nelson seem to have found their feet. Working through to Mincha, managing to avoid contact. Some great body positioning there, which is fantastic to see. Jesse Chase with the disc on the far sideline, marked by Diaf.
Blue Skies, just working it down the sideline. I think really need to center it right now. When you're pushing down the sideline like that, it can be difficult to work with space. You're really limited to what's right in front and right behind you. As we can see, the Marks are looking at trapping it there. And an overshoot on defense means an easy swing around to Crane in the middle, opening up a bit more space for their offense to move. Defense right now looking a little bit flat. They're doing a lot of chasing their defenders instead of positioning and taking away the dangerous space. Yeah, so Euphoria kind of giving Blue Skies a lot of options. Blue Skies also being really patient to determining where the safe options are, where the open players are. Crane coming all the way around for that look. Break forehand around, classic look from Crane.
And that's going to tie up the game as Blue Skies put one on the board. No bagels for breakfast this morning.
And a great catch by Mincher in the end zone. What a classic connection. Crane to Mincher. We'll no doubt be seeing more of that over the course of the game.
And so we're going to see a Euphoria O-line for a change.
And just to plug again, a lot of these players, we saw them a couple weeks ago playing at the Nelson Flat Out Beach tournament. Quite a few of these players were on the winning team that took the tournament, and quite a few of them were also on the opposing team that were fighting for that first place finish. They had their skills on display in beach, bringing it out now to the turf and the hard outdoor surfaces, but also they formed connections over the course of the season, whether playing with each other, against each other at beach hat tournaments, or here representing Nelson at the Div 2 championships. What's going to happen on offense, do you think, Blair? I know you've played with Euphoria a little bit. You know a lot of these players. You know a little bit about their strategy. What do you think is going to come out? What are they going to be looking for in this point?
Well, I mean, just judging by the strength of some of the offensive players that they've got there, there are some really, really nice great deep receivers there. A lot of explosive acceleration, also a decent mix of height. Greg Fowler, Matt Killen making up a pretty solid proponent of that handler core. They work really well together. A lot of sort of short passes, quick resets, trying to initiate movement off disc as well. So it's going to be really good to see Fowler to pick up early, working with Close Kung and Cook.
Close Kong with quite a bit of international experience. I know he's played across the States, East Asia, China, the Philippines, Taiwan, and now in New Zealand. Apparently this is his last tournament before moving over to Australia. He'll be bringing his skills over there, potentially coming back, though. We've got quite a few Aussie teams we've seen at this tournament as well. But his last tournament here with Euphoria. Making great movement through the zone. We see how they're finding the spaces, finding the gaps, and working it really nicely with the players.
And
that is
Cook
what keeps
with
you
an
up at night.
uncharacteristic fumble. It's going to give them an opportunity to play defense now. Some great movement, as we saw, nice and clean. I think it was Pantanople cutting through that zone to open things up, finding Burris right in front of the end zone. A crossfield shot to Cook's, not going to come away with it.
One thing I like to say, though, is if that's how you're going to make mistakes, nice double team defense there. Close Kong and Fiola working together to put the pressure on. But you know, if that's how you're going to make mistakes, that's going to result in a catch, 9 times out of 10. So that's, if you're going to make a mistake, that's how I like to see it happening.
Absolutely. So we're going to see them looks like they might be sticking to a match defense. They've collapsed that zone after the turnover. Fiola, far sideline now. Puts it up, looking for Cook. Not going to be able to find him.
Great positioning there on defense.
Yeah, great read there by Joe Knight to just calmly and safely get that interception. Puts a big shot up, looking for Edmonds.
Oh, going early, and while he didn't have a hand on the disc there as a defensive play, sometimes being in that space, taking it up, or even, just taking away, going early and causing your offender to also go earlier here, just taking away the option.
Huge pressure defense by Wong there.
Yeah, just a great play. We always like to say catch your Ds, take the disc out of play. But there, I want to say that was incredible defense, regardless.
So we're going to see that same horizontal stack initiating, facing off against what looks to be like a reformation of that zone almost.
It's a big cup. We've got a chase with a 3-person cup around there. So they're opening up a few more options downfield, which is interesting given the depth of the throwers on the team. And now it's a matter of the throwers to be able to find those spaces downfield. Once you push past those blue players in the front, once you push past that, there should be more options downfield again, because they're clogging the space around the disc.
That's the thing. Once you've broken through that zone, once you've taken out that first line of defense, it stops being a game of 7 against 7 and it starts being a game of 7 against 4. And while you're waiting for the defense to scramble and get back into position, as Burris puts the big shot up for Killen, but there's definitely some contact on that one.
Did it impact the throw? Also, contact and anyway.
Looks like an immediate signal that the call is accepted.
Yeah, I love the spirit there. In that blue sky is just initially indicating.
So foul has been accepted. So just a reminder for those watching at home, Ultimate is a non-contact sport. Now, it's just making sure that we're seeing the correct hand signals. Those two fists bumping together signifying that the call was contested. The players weren't able to come to agreement. So we're just getting some clarification that a foul was called by Killen on the contact, and the defender has accepted that contact had an impact. The disc has now been checked in and it's live. Players are free to move. A lot of miscommunication and just a lack of clarity on the field. It's making things, just slowing things down.
I think potentially with that player running in there, maybe he thought the disc was live. So again, it's a foul, no contest. Great spirit. Players rushing down to make it happen, and why go into an end zone when you have so many open options running through? It can be difficult, though, off of a foul defensively to be on your toes, know where the options are with such a quick transition. Having that mental focus is really key.
And we're going to see Cook manage to redeem himself on the score there, which is fantastic. A little jump through to put that one on the board.
Yeah, nice point. Nice point there for Euphoria.
So that is going to bring it to 2-1. We're going to see the defensive line come back out. Campbell, Jordan, Dan Forder, Anthony Haney, Thomas Morris, Arun Arivazagan, Kieran Allen, and Ben Truong. Just some fantastic sunshine beams on that sideline there.
And one thing I like to talk about every game, just for your awareness about the conditions that we have right now, is you can see the sun has come out. It's a beautiful day. Well, there's this very slight breeze that we don't really expect with how light it is to be impacting throws at all, really, unless we're seeing some push passes or slight throws with no touch on them. But again, little to no breeze. So if there's a zone, they're just running it to mix up the defense, challenge the offense in different ways. The sun's coming out. It's not too cold. It's really perfect conditions for Ultimate Frisbee today.
Fantastic.
Here in ULTI.TV Christchurch.
Fantastic pull there
from
Morris. Fielded early by Crane, marked by Haney as Allen looks to close in on the reset. Hippolyte, but a pick has been called.
Yeah, due to, as you can see on the left side of your screen, some congestion, just the proximity of so many players in that same space. Leading to challenge for defense to mark up effectively. Mincher fighting to get open. Looking break.
Again, it's just that it's Emery Crane's just left-handed ability to get around the defense is really impressive. Hippolyte has the disc now on that near sideline.
Hippolyte finding options. It sounds like another pick has been called. So here to clean it up, what Euphoria is saying to Blue Skies, not directly, but through these picks that are happening, is that Blue Skies could clean up their offense. What that means is they can move away from each other, increase the separation on the field. The players are standing relatively close to each other, so just moving away from other players, cleaning up their stack a little bit, creating more space. Crane finding the disc easily. Looking for options. I love this matchup. Haney and Crane on each other. They're both such athletic players.
Huge hammer.
Lefty back and oh no.
Wenzel goes up for it. He's not going to be able to come down with it.
I was a big fan of that throw.
That was a really nice hammer.
Really nice throw.
But it came down. I mean, it looked like it turned over quite late in the flight path, which meant that it didn't really have a lot of float underneath it to give Wenzel some time to adjust. So honestly, just the sheer arm on that one was huge. But it's going to give the disc back to Euphoria, an opportunity for a break here as we see Trong cutting underneath to receive from Morris. Nice reset to Jordan.
Oh, Stern does a great job on the mark, stopping that give-go movement. Haney with the disc.
A foot block, but it's kept alive by Jordan, putting the long shot up.
Nice movements.
And Allen is going to come down with the score. You can see Dan Forder was kind of expecting that line drive and then bailed out of his cut as he recognized it was going to go well behind him. A very impressive foot block. We might need to check the integrity of the disc after that one, but just great teamwork there and great heads-up awareness by Jordan to recognize that when that foot block happened, he was going to be there.
Yeah, definitely. And such a good release. And so much separation in the end zone. He's all by himself to take that space, to run onto the disc cleanly, safely. Let's see the foot block one more time as Crane sees where it's going, puts his foot up. Foot blocks can be tricky sometimes. They can be iffy. I've seen situations in the past where marks have accidentally kicked the hand or sometimes, talk with the disc. But really great awareness by Crane there, seeing where Haney wants to put the disc and getting his body in the way.
And it's not going to be enough to stop the break, though, as Euphoria go up by 2 over Blue Skies from Nelson.
Big shout out to all of the fans we have who are streaming in. I'm seeing a lot of supporters from Euphoria supporting from afar, maybe up north from Auckland or overseas, supporting from home, or as Blair has said in the past, from work if that's what you're doing today as well. But great to see the fans tuning in to weigh in and provide. Maybe they're not here on the sideline, providing that virtual support as well. We see you and we hear you guys.
So Crane once again to field, supported by Knight, but that first pass looked off by the aggressive defense from Jordan. We see Dudley Bestow with the disc, puts a big shot up, looking for Mercer. He's going to come down with it right on the doorstep. We see Evanson trying to shake loose of Morris. He can't quite get there, decides to look back instead. Finds Lovell.
Oh, looking, held it a bit too long.
Great bid by Morris, and it's not going to be enough to stop Edmonston pulling through with that one to bring it back within 1 point.
Back within 1 point. And I love that flow from Blue Skies. Like Blue Skies, sun's out, great throws, great bombs, every single connection there. I want to chat about, well, here's that last look as they're fighting to get open. But so many of the connections in this point looking that off, defense is so close. They're trying to take away all the options, and a great bid there, but seeing it safe into his hands. I want to talk about every throw that point, though. Dudley Besto coming under, and he's such, as I've said before, a multi-tool of a player. He's got so much speed and agility and quickness behind him, but what I really like about Dudley Besto as a player is that he's so effective not only in the deep space, but also there in the under, but also potentially as a handler. Mostly, he's not so much in the handling space right now, but able to throw those long continuations, those throws that so many of the handlers do have. He's able to fit into every role. Incredible catch by Mercer as well. What a receiver. So fast. Again, they're really playing to the strengths of their team, and as long as they keep doing that, they're going to keep putting points on the board. Really stoked about that point.
I mean, again, and it's something that we talked about a lot yesterday is just the ability of players to attack that front cone. If I had $1 for every time we've seen a point scored in that exact corner, I would have enough money to head on over to patreon.com/ULTI.TV and make a donation to really help us bring you the very best in ultimate coverage from here in New Zealand, Australia, and around the world. We see the pull going up as the Euphoria offensive line takes the field. It's Cook and Fowler, supported by Close Kung in that same horizontal stack, trying to just respond. A big shot goes up with a lot of fade, and it's brought down by Burris for the score.
What a take. Blair, that's one for the fans there. You love that. And with a player like Mercer in defensive position as well, hotly contested. I love to see that. I hope we get to see a replay as well.
Gonna get to see that again.
And the energy, the high fives from the team. Love to see all of Euphoria celebrating that point as a team together. So once again, disc goes up.
Was that Tom Fraser who threw that?
An incredible throw.
I think that might have been Tom Fraser who threw that. That explains the shape.
That explains the shape. Who is Tom Fraser, Blair? Who is this man? Care to provide some background?
I think a throw like that kind of speaks for itself, really. We're going to see the Euphoria defensive line come out. It's going to be once again Haney, Allen, Jordan, Truong, Forder, Diath, and Pantanopol facing off against some of those core players from the Blue Skies. We see Mincher, we see Wenzel, we see Crane, we see Hippolyte.
It just goes up, and that classic dynamic duo of handlers, Crane with Hippolyte.
Truong with a really aggressive chase to shut down that first pass.
You love to see that, regardless of how good the pull is. A nice inside-out backhand, but regardless of how good the pull is, you have no defense if you're not getting down there and chasing it down. There's no point in pulling it well if you're not going to chase it up. So Euphoria doing a really good job of following up and putting that defensive pressure on. Dath on the mark. Mincher assessing options, finding Hippolyte.
Puts the big shot up. Haney and Crane underneath it. It's Haney who's going to come down with it. That's what they want. They love those defensive pressure to try and get those breaks.
He had really good positioning there. Haney had his back to the mark, back to the disc, but it made it, while he was maintaining the space and doing a really good job of that physically, it made it a harder catch kind of behind the back.
Yeah, Truong has the disc now as Edmonston has switched over to pick up Haney, but he can't get there. Campbell, Jordan, disc on far sideline, marked by Crane now.
Faking options, slicing it through.
Comes through low, so Kieran Allen's not going to be able to get it. It's going to give the Blue Skies an opportunity to tie things up yet again.
Yeah, there was an open swing, it looks like there. I'm sad he didn't end up taking that option. Crane, classic, looking deep again. Look at that floaty throw. Great to run onto, but also great defensive positioning. How can you make a play on the disc? The answer is you can't if your defense is taking away that option physically, taking up that space.
And so we're going to see Haney bring the disc to the front of the end zone, marked by Edmonston. Crane pushing up to cover the reset. Campbell, Jordan, we see Euphoria establishing a vertical stack. Truong making an early cut from the back of the stack, deciding to push towards the far sideline. Instead, it's Kieran Allen. Finds Pantanopol, putting a big shot up, looking for Diath.
You can't find it. I love that matchup as well. Mincher and Diath together. Diath is obviously such a height advantage, and Mincher also such a weapon when the disc is high in the air. So great to see these two matched up against each other, and that's why we're here. A no-look backhand. Only from a player with as much tenure and experience as Hippolyte, although we have seen Crane put up a few of those as well.
Stern has it now with a little offhand backhand through to Crane.
So many lefty players on this team can make it challenging to mark when they're switching up the ways in which the team is releasing throws.
Chase under pressure now. There's not a lot. He goes for the bailout option, and it's Forder.
That's a defensive point right there.
And a stalk was called. So a stalk out, just for those watching at home, Ultimate has a self-officiated shot clock, essentially much like in basketball. A player in possession of the disc can only hold on to it for 10 seconds as counted by their opposition before they have to relinquish control or generate an automatic turnover. And that's exactly what was happening there with the defense. Chase was functionally abandoned under that defensive pressure. So we're going to see Forder go up to take it, puts a nice shot up, it's fading early, Crane's underneath.
Yeah, great positioning by Crane. Interestingly, I mean, calling that stall out, the team had it and he stopped that momentum. It worked out anyway, it worked out, but yeah, the classic scoober that Crane is getting really well known for. He's creating a bit of an MO for himself with these scoobers. Disc goes up, Chase has the disc in hand, assessing options. Crane looks strike, opting for the around to Hippolyte.
Goes up high, Edmondson comes down with it, marked by Pantanople, goes past, finds Mincha, Diath aggressive on the mark, trying to keep those arms wide, manages to thread one right through to Crane again, a left-handed break shot. Wow. 4 wins the land the score to bring it back within 1.
I love that. What great movements. What that flick break. It's so hard to defend. Again, having the diversity of left and right-handed throwers on the team can make it. It's a really big asset. It's so difficult to adjust as a mark when discs are coming out so many different ways. Marking a backhand around versus a forehand around is really different. And yeah, it can make it challenging in determining what the force is and what you're trying to take away and how effectively to take those throws away. Crane showing that it's really not an issue for him is, again, look at that great break. Finding another point on the board for Blue Skies. And the sun has come out for him. It was a little bit overcast before, but the clouds are clearing. The sky is celebrating, you know, along with Nelson. We've got a strong offensive line from Euphoria now. We'll see what they have in their back pocket, what they'd like to run. They're 1 point ahead. Blue Skies no doubt looking to take the break, that is generate a turnover here, but if they want to score the point, they need to push through that defense, generate a turn, and then play their offensive line.
Cook to Fraser, supported by Fowler, recentering the disc as the defense starts to close. We have Puller near sideline with Wong. Marked by Knight. Goes around, finds Burris. Pantanople pushing aggressively deep. Puller on the up line.
Nice
manages to get it.
From Euphoria right now. Really, a lot of clean movement. There's a travel called on the throw. Or maybe before he picked up the disc, there may have been a determination that he didn't slow down or maybe change direction.
Goes around.
Like dragging his foot on the throw there. That does make sense.
Burris to Fraser. Gets a bite out of Lovell. Back to Burris. He's waiting for something there. Finds Cook on the open side.
Moving the mark around.
Gets a break as Edmonds flags off Burris. Finds Fraser, back to Cook. Threads through to Pantanople, not yet in the zone. Finds Puller with a one-hand take. Still not in. Back to Cook, trying to recenter the disc, and it's Fraser, Tom Fraser with the score to bring it back to a 2-point lead.
What beautiful connections there. Really nice ultimate on display from Euphoria. Really great offense. I know that that's one of Tom Fraser's favorite playing styles is that quick movement, and we see him when he had the disc there also with that stall zero dishy. Again, why make throws hard? Why put up the most challenging creative throws? I know I love to watch it. We saw a few of those in the last few games, but why do that if it's not necessary? You know, why make life difficult for yourself and force players to sky other players, force them to put their bodies out on the line when you can throw a dishy and just keep the disc moving? It's so hard to adapt and play defense.
Like I always say, when you're in a situation like that, if you can move past your defense, if you can move really quickly off a throw into the next possession, into the next sequence, if the defense is out of position, the defense is unable to do their job. once the defense is unable to do their job. It really is a matter of just applying a lot of pressure and walking everything in.
Absolutely, and Euphoria providing a great example of how to do that in that last point there. We've got, again, another defensive line from Euphoria. It's now their turn to generate the turn and then push through on offense, as opposed to the strong offensive line that Blue Skies is putting out there, who then again, with your offensive line, you're a bit more conservative. A turn could mean the point for you, so you're trying to focus on minimizing mistakes, take safer options, and maintain this point that you should maintain as the offensive line. Defense has a bit more flexibility to make those mistakes. Dudley Besto finding
Wenzel. Center field marked by Adivazagan. Goes back around to Mincha. We're seeing that same vertical stack that we've seen a lot from Blue Skies. Emery Crane having pushed into the downfield space to try and make something work. It's Edmundston.
Movement. I really like how Blue Skies is using all the players on the field right now. They definitely have some standout talent. Crane looking deep.
Oh, a huge bid there by Jordan, but it looks like there may have been contact. They're going to call an accepted foul.
Oh, yeah. Foul, no contest.
Crane walking with a little bit of a limp, but they're just checking the disc in. So now the disc is live. Players are free to move. He's going to bring it to the front of the end zone. That limp is a little bit concerning. Marked by Jordan, hoping for something to develop, and they managed to find it. It's Dudley Besto with the score to bring it back within one.
I love situations like this. I mean, Crane he's left-handed, but this is a situation when the lefty backhand, that soft touch throw for many right-handed players, a forehand would have a little bit more power on it. It would be harder to run onto, just being a sharper, faster throw, and a lefty backhand naturally, of course, coming to the lefties, but the perfect throw just to put out into space for the players to run onto and score the point. And so many options for him there, people streaking out to the open side. Defense clearly not quite ready to play defense against that speed.
And the game is to 15. So now it's still only a 1-point game. Euphoria are up by 1. What that means is with our game to 15, we're racing to 8 to see which team takes half. And that's the point at which we'll take a break. So Euphoria are 3 points away from that. Blue Skies from Nelson are only 4 away. So it's still anybody's game. We're going to see that same strong offensive line. We've got Close Kung, Fraser, Pantanopel, Burris, Fiola, Puller, and Cook. And so we've seen a lot of the really strong connections that they have. We've seen them come down and really set up a solid horizontal stack, relying on the safe hands of those handlers to move the disc back and forth across the field, taking yards just a few at a time until they can open something up in that deep space, allowing one of those deep cutters like Close Kung, like Burris, to really make a huge push and get some good yards for a score. So that's Mincha with a pull as it touches down early, a little bit of a roll. Puller stops it.
You know, Blair, one thing that I'm looking for this game that we saw Blue Skies playing in the first match of this tournament, the first streamed game, and Pong, who's on the mark, now he's on the disc, he had some incredible deep looks. He was consistently open in the deep space, and that's something I would like to see more of. Look at that separation! It goes deep, Dudley Besto right behind, but can't make a defensive play on that clean catch. Point for Euphoria.
Huge play there by Cook to grab that one from Burris. Just a fantastic sequence there. Nice quick movement of the disc until something opens up in that deep space. It's one of the benefits of that kind of horizontal stack. Where a vertical stack sets up large channels for players to cut into on the near and far sidelines of the field from our perspective, a horizontal stack looks to create space in that space between the handlers and your line of cutters, and then in the deeper area pushing towards the end zone. That's exactly what we saw there. We saw cuts coming in towards those handlers to allow those sort of 3 or 4 meter passes to kind of use those middle line of players to bounce the disc off and gain yards, because you can't walk with a Frisbee or a disc rather when you've got it.
That would be a travel.
that would be a travel, as we've seen called. So another way of moving forward with the disc is to quickly a 3 meter pass that immediately looks to return it to the thrower as that thrower has taken that 2 or 3 meter step forward. So huge work there. We're going to see that defensive line come out again. It's Anthony Haney with the disc.
He's had such athletic plays, such big throws. We'll see what he has to put on display for defense this point. Crane to retrieve the disc, to receive it. It just out of bounds. It takes out the cone. Like
pinpoint accuracy, yeah.
off anyway, so Creighton's gonna brick it in the middle of the field. So when the disc goes out of bounds, the offense can choose to brick it. A brick is a few meters up. It allows the offense to center it, to take it in the middle of the field, which just allows for so many more options, as opposed to when you're trapped or trying to get it off of the sideline. A wide open reset. Hippolyte is open for the swing. Crane opts for that open look.
It's Chase who's got it nicely, finds Wenzel for a clean score there.
Where was the defense, Blair?
Where was the defense?
That was blue skies for days. Shining on me, nothing but blue skies do I see.
I suspect that the threat, I guess, perceived by the defense was that undercut, so the cut towards the disc, and so that's where they were sort of marking. But when you've got a player like Emery Crane who can put up a pretty high blade that's going to come in nice and cleanly and fall behind the line of the defense, then all of a sudden it's just a game of 2v1 because all of the other players are further upfield.
Yeah, and you've mentioned that before when you're taking away that, and we've seen a really big cup. Euphoria set putting a lot of people around the cup, around that space, so it's just a matter of opening up, cracking that open. Once it's past that, there's so many fewer defenders to contend with. And especially when, you're marking space, not match, not person defense. So as long as that person is slightly split, trying to take away the most dangerous options, it just provides a little bit more lag time in recognizing, catching up and trying to respond to the throw that's going up.
And so we're going to see Chase with the pull for Blue Skies. Once again, the Euphoria O-line take the field.
And the disc goes up.
Fiola in a very beautiful white visor, the iconic outfit of Greg Fiola for Euphoria. Quick reset to close Kung, finds Fraser middle of the field. It's Pantanople. A nice high foot give-go in motion throw on that forehand, which we talked about yesterday in Wolf when we saw Abby Liddell make that exact same throw to great effect. But it's going to be Cook who pulls it up. Far sideline. Mercer with the emphatic denial.
Blair. If I had seen that play developing every time, I think I would have put that throw as well. It looked like such a good option. I mean, such a great receiver, but when you have Mercer's closing speed, look at it. He just turns on the jets. He's driving a manual and just shifts the gears up. He puts on the gas and just accelerates into that D.
One of the interesting things about that, as we see Chase find Edmonds to initiate, finding Dudley Besto, throws like that allow for those blocks. It's that little bit of edge as the disc started to roll over back towards the far sideline. That's what allowed that to happen. If that disc had remained flat, Mercer wouldn't have been able to get close enough to it. So it's just those little, it's a game of margins, tiny, tiny margins. And the team that's able to find and exploit those is going to be the one that walks away with the win. You see Edmonds on a great undercut marked by Cook, so it gets looked off.
Contested hammer.
Puller goes through, and it looks like there's definitely going to be a foul called on that one. It's
unfortunate that there was contact drawn because he was in such good position for the D. He was in such good position for the D, and it's really tricky when you're in that space to make that D cleanly. I'm not sure if he could have, but he was right there.
Now, here's an interesting thing. So I think that Puller on the back of Styles was probably clean. It was actually the fact that Pung came through without awareness of what was happening sort of downfield from him. But either way, Pantanople's going to eat that one up.
Yeah. Just about lunchtime, and Pantanople is nom hungry.
So it's going to be Wong back around
nice
to
Cook.
Cook.
Easy
over to Pantanople. To close Kong, left-handed. He wants to chip on past Chase, can't get it. Goes back around to Cook, supported by Fiola, pushing towards the far sideline. Somehow cuts through the cup. Finds Fraser to Puller, far sideline. Fiola in hot pursuit on an upline, gets looked off. Close Kong asking for the disc, not getting it, decides to go to Wong instead. Fraser putting up his hand, trying to establish some structure on him. Threads a laser through to Pantanople.
Oh, looking for the inside.
A dirty breakthrough.
Where did Close Kong come from? I thought he was throwing into Mercer's, the defense. He kept looking for those options. I was like, where's this inside going? Close Kong out of nowhere with a strike cut.
That was phenomenal offensive vision and awareness. I mean, great fakes by Pantanople there to really shift the defense. It really looked like he was trying to push that and target that backhand. Manages to pull the defense out of the way. and then just fires off with the inside shot to close that point out and take Euphoria 1 away from half.
1 away from half. Well, they're playing with joy. They're playing with Euphoria. They are Team Euphoria as they're bringing this joy to the field, putting another one on the board. Great catch from Close Kong one more time. And I love right now that both teams, I mean, they're just playing joy, they're just playing spirit, but they're really involving all the players in the team. I think you can look across both these teams, and there definitely are standout players who have the ability to pick up teams and put them on their backs. But I love the trust that both teams are displaying and seeing every player from across the teams really making an impact in how they're playing. This is not, you know, just the one-person show that we've seen that teams can win games with in the past. You know, this is not Nicholas Whitlock, a strong player just picking up a team and putting it on his back and winning a tournament, you know? This is everyone supporting each other, using the players, using the width of the field and the strength, and it's really nice to see that on the field on display right now across both teams.
So Morris with the disc for the pull. He's going to send it up.
We're hearing a lot of noise from the sidelines as teammates who are off the field are supporting their teammates. They're trying to bring up the energy, provide that noise and that support from the sideline as well, a really key part of Ultimate.
Crane with an upline, sending the long drive, looking for Edmonston.
It's far.
Gonna be just a little bit too long, but that's the defensive pressure that Euphoria are looking for to walk away with halftime.
And a vertical stack on the field. We've seen a lot of vertical stack over the course of the weekend. It seems to be the play style, the strategy of the season. Most teams opting for a vertical stack. And again, in these conditions, unsurprisingly, with match defense, as players are choosing to mark up person.
Forder wide open on the undercut, so aggressive. It just slips through his hands.
Maybe it's a lot of the love that we're seeing online, a lot of the support making him nervous. Shout out to the fans supporting him from Bristol next and elsewhere.
Crane goes through. Oh, touch by Forder. What a clean block.
Go. He's bringing it back. Love to see that. Maybe some redemption for a bobble. You know, and that's a great way to channel that energy. When you make a mistake on offense or you feel like you did something that wasn't right, you turn it into something you can control on defense. You turn up the defense, and he has done that right there, displaying some great mental strength and great athleticism, great defensive movement.
Double helix scuba, but Haney's going to come down with it. Finds Trong with a little spin cycle catch there.
Looking break.
Forder to Allen. Top Annan on the up line. Great run through by Mincher.
He's read the tea leaves this morning, and he knew exactly what was going to happen. Went through and found that D. The disc goes up. Crane looking for Mincher. Will he get the bookends?
Yes, he will. Oh, my goodness.
He can read tea leaves. He can read encyclopedias. He can read the disc right there.
And that's going to bring the Blue Skies within one of Euphoria. Now it's going to be Euphoria's offensive line hoping to close out the first half of this exciting semi-final for the 2024 Division 2 New Zealand Ultimate Championship here at Bob Deans Fields in Hagley Park in sunny Ōtautahi, Christchurch. Very exciting.
Thank you for City Council for sorting out this weather for us this weekend. I know, Blair, you and I, ULTI.TV, we've commentated through some windy, rainy matches. You know, the players are working through it, and we're huddled up in the tent. But what a privilege. I mean, great athleticism on display. We can see, you know, players running out, skies out, arms out, thighs out, all of it. But also some great ultimate on display, but so lovely to be playing in these beautiful conditions as well.
And so it's going to be Chase with the disc for the pull, supported by Mercer, Knight, Pong. Some Blue Skies stalwarts there.
So
Dudley Besto as well.
So as Blair was just saying, the game is 15. That means that Euphoria is in a position, they're coming out offensively, and generally in Ultimate you expect offense to score the point. They don't have to work through a defensive play first. They just have to maintain possession and score the point. It's easier for them. They've got a shorter road ahead of them. And now is their opportunity. They're looking, no doubt, to take half, to put one more point on the board, and half will be at 8.
Josh Cook to Keegan Puller. Faking off Anki Wang, trying to get him to clear out of that line. We see Pantanople one more time.
Nice movements from Euphoria.
To Cook, aggressive up line, he's going for it! Is it going to fade back in? It's not. It's pulling too far towards that near sideline for that to be clean.
He had so much separation on that cut. Not only the acceleration and right off the bat with that first step, but speeding up into it. Unfortunately, with that disc fading too far, it doesn't matter how much separation there is. It's hard to reel in a disc that's that far out of bounds. We're hearing no easy under, indicating Euphoria's strategy right now and stopping those undercuts, forcing the deeps.
Edmonds feeling a little pressured, but it's Knight who's going to grab the disc and call a timeout.
I like that call. I really like that call.
Absolutely. I mean, I think just being pinned down on that sideline, we saw a couple of cuts. I mean, Dudley Besto was making a decent go of it. But with that aggressive no-under defense that we see Euphoria pouring on that pressure, trying to stop Blue Skies from advancing the disc at all, the pressure starts to build up. I mean, Edmonds looked like he was under a decent bit of stress. The stall count was getting a little bit high. So great work by Knight to relieve some of that and then immediately call a timeout to allow them to reconsolidate, to think about what's going to happen for the rest of the point.
I reckon so. So, Blair, 2 teams, 1 timeout, lots of conversation. What are they talking about right now?
Well, I wonder, I mean, Blue Skies really, really, really need this point. They need to bring it back to a 7-7 tie. We've got Knight with the disc to initiate, but they're still pinned down pretty close to the sideline with a long field ahead of them. I'm wondering whether or not we might see them look to try and isolate someone, so whether or not we see a side stack pushing towards the far sideline to just give the entirety of their field an opportunity for someone like Mercer, maybe Crane, to get involved and just try and crack everything open. Euphoria, on the other hand, they know that no-unders is working. They know that really there's only a handful of players on that Blue Skies team who are really confident to start throwing things that are lower percentage. You know, we know that Crane is a threat. Dudley Besto is a threat with the disc. They've got some great receivers, but the question is whether or not they have the handlers, the throwers, who can put those shots up to make the most of those really great deep cutters. So if they can't, if they can force the disc back under, they can essentially deny that deep threat the ability to make as much of an impact as they'd like. So are they going to stick to that? Are they going to really try and force a bunch of lateral passes between the handlers and use that to slowly close the jaws around the Blue Skies offense?
Looks like match defense out here. One thing that I do really like, potentially switching things up if you're on defense, if a timeout's been called, just maybe throw a zone can really shut down a planned play that has been discussed. Ooh, great undercut by Mercer. Good contesting pressure on defense as well. Ooh, some athleticism out there. Close come looking for the layout D, but nice movement. And that Blue Skies getting it off, slightly working it off the sideline, bit more space to work with.
That was great by Dudley Besto as well to snap his foot off the line as he took that disc. Burris to secure that one after a great touch, looking for Keegan Puller.
Wow. And
finds him. That is going to be the first half of the game. Puller to bring it to 8 over Blue Skies 6. We also have an update from our other semi-final. Our most recent score update was NAS up over Outbreak by 3 points. So it was 8-5 at our last update. Fantastic work here by both of these teams. That means we've got a really exciting final coming up for you next. And then later on in the day, the highlight event is going to be our women's division final. We'll give you some more information about that as we get a little bit later on into the day. But for now, my name is Blair Monroe.
And I'm Kelsey Bielik. And I also want to comment on just the work that everyone has been putting into leading up to this event. You know, teams have been working not just in trainings, but also in the gym. They've been doing sprints, really running and putting in the cardio to make it happen. And, you know, there's the players on the field that make that happen, but also ULTI.TV behind the scenes, really doing our sprint
sprints, doing our runs, out here sweating. We've got Blair Monroe, commentator. He does more than just sit behind the scenes. Here he is, running back, putting in the cardio to make it happen. We're running back here as well, folks. So just a shout out to Mr. Blair Monroe, the voice of New Zealand Ultimate himself. There he is. We'll be back after this break, after Blair gets a nice cup of tea, and don't go anywhere. We'll see you for the second half soon.
Devastating. Absolutely devastating. We will be back with you very soon.
And it's the least flattering footage anyone could ever create. That is ridiculous.
And welcome back to the second half of the 2024 semi-final here between Euphoria and Blue Skies. Now, we've been keeping an eye on your comments and just wanted to give a shout out to Rutan. I was going to save this for next week's Division 1 Championship, but I am in fact wearing a visor from a recent Ocean Beach tournament. Shout out to Ru, who wasn't able to make the tournament but did do a fantastic job putting together all of the fantastic prizes for those players. if you're a New Zealand local, try and get involved in as many pickup beach and hat tournaments as you can. They're a great way to just build connections and start getting ingrained into your community.
Now, we see your comments, we see your questions. We're going to comment on this just in a moment, but briefly with the other game, we've got NOS versus Outbreak from Australia. The score is currently 7-1 to NOS. NOS is up in the other semifinal, but a point here.
Great
right
offensive hold straight out of half. It was Burris to Pantanople to Cook for that final sequence there. Just some fantastic work to bring it 9-6. What a nice day. What a nice score.
What a nice score. We talk about the importance of focusing on defense, focusing on offense, but that's what happens as a commentator when you lose focus for just a moment. Euphoria scores a point like that right in the second half.
And just a shout out as well, a nice little highlight for me, Blair Munro, the gentleman over here in the commentary booth. I just want everyone at home to know there's no shame. I am truly the picture of peak physical performance. Right? The only reason I'm not out here on the field is because I want to make sure that it's fair for everybody else. So we're going to see Euphoria's defensive line come out one more time. We have Ben Truong, Anthony Haney, Kieran Allen, Dan Forder, Clayton Diath, Campbell Jordan, and Pantanople as well.
And thanks for giving the players on the opportunity the chance, Blair, the chance to come out and play defense or against this stunning offensive line we see that Nelson has put out as well. So right now, expecting to see some more of that great movement, a lot of athleticism coming out from this line. Nelson with a slightly shorter roster than their colleagues over here from Auckland. So really pushing through, but also forming a lot of the connections with a smaller roster. You have more playing time, more touches on the disc, more experience and connections with your teammates. Some great movement, nice connections. A lot of that trust that I was talking about. Hippolyte fighting to get open.
Edmundston just able to get that one away for a really aggressive cut. And it's Campbell Jordan to steal the reset, looking for Crane. It's Kieran Allen pushing deep, well in front of Hippolyte for the score. That's back-to-back to open up the half, but it looks like a travel was called on Campbell Jordan.
Yeah, the disc is going back. But what separation there? So because there was a travel, of course you need an established pivot foot. Crane might be talking about how it happened, maybe the slowdown, the extra few steps. There's another rule, you can't change direction after you've caught the disc and you're slowing down. But here, whether his foot dragged, whether he took a few extra steps to slow down and didn't feel like he slowed down effectively, we're looking to repeat the exact same throw. The disc is coming down, and you know what they say, folks, the disc don't lie.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's a little bit of deja vu there. Great work by Campbell Jordan, a fantastic assist to have Euphoria split double digits for the first time in the match, bringing them closer and closer to victory and a spot in the final. Blue Skies not yet left in the dust, but maybe coming out a little bit flat-footed after that first half. So it'll be really good to see how they G themselves up, how they bring the fire back that we've seen throughout the tournament from them. We know, as you say, with that smaller roster, the connections are going to be a lot tighter. They're a lot more precise because you're going to have Emery Crane and Ratsapu Hippolyte constantly in that same handler space. So they play so often with each other that they know what to look for. That's one of the reasons why we're seeing so many of these connections, even though we might have Crane putting up some high blades or some shots that might seem, from an outside perspective, to be lower percentage options. With that smaller roster, maybe the smaller community there in Nelson, they've really drilled those in. So there's so much trust. It's those intangible things that we're bringing. Yes, Euphoria has a huge amount of individual athleticism. There's no denying that. There's also no denying that there's a lot of great teamwork on display there as well. But just with that smaller group in Nelson, the intangibles are playing a much, much bigger proportion of their success throughout this tournament. It's really what you hope for. I mean, that's what Ultimate is. It's about a community creating a sport from that community as opposed to necessarily the other way around.
And some speed coming down from Euphoria. Blair was just talking about the athleticism on the team, and we see that on displays. They're chasing that disc down, putting on the defensive pressure as soon as they can. Minshew with the disc marked by Hoeni. Finding that nice open reset to Crane, who's wide open. Crane directing, he wants to launch it deep.
Oh, he winds up the hammer, decides to go to Dudley Bestow, far sideline marked by Forder. Nice flat force. I think he may have got a foot to that.
And that's the struggle, again, with forcing the disc down the sideline. We've seen Blue Sky really, following the sideline plays, but that is the challenge. There's just such little space to work with.
Doing a little bit of a switch out to get Jordan near sideline to Morris. Kieran Allen again. Forder wide open for it.
Incredible.
Is that going to be bookends? I think it is.
Incredible separation on those cuts.
Just absolutely fantastic. Yeah, the defense was a little bit caught off guard by that one. So Dan Ford is going to put another one on the board to bring Euphoria to 11 points over the Blue Skies 6.
Yeah, and again, the defense just slowing down a little bit there. It looked like maybe Blue Skies, whether losing legs a little bit, or just trying to mark space more strategically, playing a little bit of saggy, poachy defense. It didn't work to their advantage there, as Euphoria just really punished that, found the open players, and made an easy catch.
And
I love to see the athleticism of the big plays.
If we get
breaks, but why make it exciting when you can make it clean?
If we get another chance to watch that, let's just look at the release for Kieran Allen's forehand and just the amount of gentle touch and float on that made that. I mean, if Dan Forder had managed to not catch that, I would probably be having to check the stands for someone cursing him. Because just with the amount of touch and float on that disc, it was a parcel, right? That we're talking, here's your tracking number, estimated time of arrival, full delivery details from New Zealand Post. What a fantastic put there. 5 points in the game now. This is kind of the margins that Euphoria were probably coming in expecting to see. They are strong contenders in this tournament. We're going to see Haney with a huge pull there.
Yeah, and at this stage, with that point on the board as well, we're starting to see Euphoria pull away a little bit in the second half. If Blue Skies, if they want to stay in it, they really need to start digging a little bit deeper. That this plays like this. Oh, that miss.
Arivazagan with a great run through. Doesn't look like Winsel's going to call that one.
Great energy, but Blue Skies need to
see
pick
it
up a little bit.
We're going to get a chance to watch that again. It puts through. I wonder whether or not Winsel maybe misconnected with that disc before the contact was made and didn't think that a call would have been justified. Great shot through. Nice inside break to Arivazagan, and Morris goes for the layout to try and keep it alive, and he just can't do it.
Second attempt. I also want to comment on a few of the open side cuts there, but instead he opts to go break. Now, it's always easier to throw the open side, but if you can throw break, it opens up a whole nother side of the field. Really strategically, I think that was a good decision. Unfortunate bobble on offense, giving Blue Skies another chance. Mincher with the disc.
Dudley Bestow, but it gets eaten up by Jordan with just a great poach defense. Laser shot through to Allen for a second. Actually, if I'm not mistaken, just in this half alone, it's been Kieran Allen score, Kieran Allen assist, and then a Kieran Allen score. So I think, if I'm not mistaken, Kieran Allen has been involved in the last 3 points for Euphoria to bring them 3 away from a victory here over Blue Skies from Nelson.
Just great movement from Euphoria. They're playing really heads-up, aware defense. They're generating these turnovers right now, but I feel dismayed. I feel like Blue Skies is slowing down. They're taking the foot off the gas, and I hope that's not because the tank is getting a little bit empty, but they're slowing down a little bit. They're making more mistakes. They're not playing as much as their heart's in it like they were at the end of the first half there, when they were powering through. Just more mistakes, less pressure on defense, and I think that defensive pressure, that lightening up on that defensive pressure is resulting in these really beautiful points that Euphoria is putting on the board. Now is the time. I want to see Blue Skies digging deep and bringing the heat. The heat from Nelson, the beautiful blue sky energy, that sunlight, that power to this game.
Kelsey, I have to be honest, I don't like typically making predictions because of the commentators' curses, we're both aware, but I have a sneaking suspicion Blue Sky's going to put this point away. We saw Emery Crane, who's done a huge amount, not just in terms of work in the handler space, but also in just generally holding a lot of the team together in that calm guidance in terms of the offense. He took a substitution last point, one of the first ones in a little while, but he's back on. And so I'm wondering whether or not it's going to be enough to put them on the board. We see a nice reset to Joe Knight, marked by Puller.
And I love Joe Knight's spin turn there. Nice footwork to keep it in for Mercer.
That was great work there. Some pre-stalling there by Cookie. But it's Mercer resets to Knight to find Crane, putting a long shot up, but Dudley Bestow wasn't looking. Just the cut was developing so beautifully. A little bit of float, maybe a little bit more support from the sideline to let him know that this was coming. An early course correction could have gotten there. He had the foot speed.
And Blair, I think you called it there that we do see a few Euphoria players on this sideline, but splitting the sideline as the team, you know, while your drink bottles, while your gear, all your stuff might be on the other side, having those voices on the opposite sideline can be such a game maker, you know, a change, that difference.
Rule number one, when you're at a tournament like this, split the sideline. Have team members on both sides. As Truong finds Josh Cook, puts a huge shot up, looking for Clayton Diarth. Styles in hot pursuit. It's not going to be enough. He puts one up to Wong, but it's not going to get them there.
Serve that greatness.
Edmonds decides to comfortably recenter, finds Knight by way of Styles, and the pick has been called. Looks like on Ari Stern, just getting that separation through a little bit of contact avoidance, more than his own innate athleticism.
Oh yes, Ari Stern is a fast player. He's definitely athletic, but yeah. But yeah, sometimes you know, picks do help you in getting up.
I was going to say, every little bit helps. I mean, I wouldn't have expected Ari Stern to need one of those to get separation. He's got wheels.
Yeah.
Just happens that as he picked his timing, maybe by the time his defense responded, it was just a case of, well, somebody's in the way. Dang it.
Dang it. All right, the disc is in the hands.
Edmonds pushing into a nice deep cut. We're seeing a little bit of scramble as Euphoria are trying to shut down those.
Switching.
Great switching there. Crane trying to get in close for a reset option, but Wang was just there. Poached off, managed to get a hand to it. It's going to be Cook right on the doorstep.
Incredible heads-up defense there. I love that. They've worked for it.
Isolating Wang. It's not going to be there. He gets looked off, goes crossfield looking for Puller. Can he get there? Yes, he can.
What a throw.
Euphoria go to 13 up over the Blue Skies 6. What a throw. I mean, it's one of those things. We've seen a lot of great work on the open side throughout this tournament. We're seeing some great uplines. I think today in particular, we saw Rex Vanderkop in our match against against Hive this morning. We've seen quite a few of these plays where they've decided to really open up the width of the field, finding some unique break options. We're going to see that again here.
It's almost a zipper end zone where you just have all the players clear out so you can throw it to the space you want. I want to take that throw out and treat it to a nice dinner. I want to take that throw out on a nice day.
That's the kind of throw I would call back in the morning.
Oh, I love it. Oh, so good to see it. Anyway, a well-deserved point. Also, I want to talk about Euphoria. So we have seen Blue Skies make a few baubles, lack of focus on offense, but that offensive point there was purely defense, heads-up defense, switching, really a testament to, I think, intelligent play style and heads up, but also really important comms between the defenders. Awareness of where players are, where you switch, and that can go awry, you know, if you're not all on the same page, but there was a great example of heads up defense. I think, you know, while again, we were talking about how beautiful that throw was, but really that was such a strong defensive point by Euphoria. We'll see if they can repeat that now. We'll see if
comes
they do
a little
more switching.
high. The disc is going to fall out of bounds. It's going to be bricked again. We're going to see Mincha to pick up.
And some fans really close to the sideline looking at creating those 3 meters, but great to see fans of all walks of life, from the kids to the adults. And Mincher's just assessing the disc. We talked about before about the disc being tacoed. Again, when it hits the ground really hard or undergoes quite a bit of impact, it's a soft piece of plastic at the end of the day. It can be hard when it's hitting you like in the face, for example, but if it hits the ground hard, ensuring that it flies right, there's a little bit of wobble on that, so I hope it's in good condition to fly straight.
Edmondston manages to get the reset. Mincha has to go to ground to keep it alive. Top Annan in front. Trying to stretch out those long arms, shut down as many options as we can. Dudley Bestow covered too tight by Burris. It's Lovell instead, marked by Adivazagan. Goes wide, finds Pong. Nice foot flash from Kieran Allen's going to stop that up line. The stall count's getting a little bit high. Has to go back to Mincha, that's as you say. Top Annan with an almost flat force up, but he lets it go. Lovell's underneath it. It's going to go too long.
Get him out of the gym!
Get him out of the gym!
That was Such a good look, such a good look. I mean, it hung a bit too long, but look at that that separation.
Oh,
sorry, on the
just
cut.
huge.
So, it did go out of bounds ultimately, but it also really great heads-up awareness from the defense to be able to cover that, to run into the position, to get into space. If it had been a bit more of a laser going straight, maybe into space would have been easier for offense to get on that. But great closing speed from defense as well.
And just while we're here, we have another update from our other semi-final. It is NAS up by only 1 point to score 12-11 in favour of the side from somewhere in the North Island. Up over the side from Adelaide. We got Campbell. Jordan, though, getting the around break. Going to Pantanople, putting a big huck up, looking for top and in over Mincher. Slight misread and a great layout by Pantanople, but it's not quite going to be enough.
And case in point there, Mincher with the intelligent defense, sometimes just going early and forcing the other player or making them think that you might get it, causing them to jump early too is all that you need. You know, you don't even have to catch it. It's just sometimes selling that. It's a great marketing campaign saying, I'm going to go early, you should too. Results in the great defensive play. Blue Skies with the disc.
Punk to Wenzel. Wenzel now with it, goes around, finds Chase. Pantanople closing in on defense. Punk trying to provide a good opportunity for a reset, but looked off in favor of Mincher on a short up line.
Been working so hard this point, providing so many options to his teammates. There's fewer options coming out of the stack.
Besto pointing. Arivazagan going early, getting the great pressure up there. That's going to generate a turnover. It's going to be Euphoria to come back the other way, hoping to convert to bring them one away from a win. Great quarterbacking and patience by Dudley Besto there. You could see a lot of signaling. He was trying to communicate to his teammates what he needed them to do. Put the throw up. It's just not going to be a connection this time.
And I want to mention right there on defense, another great example of what we just saw Mincher do on the opposite end of the field. Defense going early, selling that early jump. Both teams really putting it on display. Some intelligence, defensive skyball.
When it comes down to it, the fact is you don't always know how high people can jump as Top Annan puts a low shot up that far sideline. People don't know how high you can jump. So if you go up on defense, you can quite often essentially make an offensive receiver betray their own knowledge of their timing. So you can cause them to mistime their jump. You don't actually have to get contact with the disc. Oh.
There's that switching there. The switching that Euphoria's been doing, really smart defense. Puris there, such great positioning with his hips. I really like the way his footwork and his hip movement taking away the dangerous space, but also the
gets a huge bid out of Pong, who's out of position. It's going to be Pantanople, finds Burris. Marked by Dudley Besto. Campbell Jordan making his way as a reset. We're looking for Burris, pushing for an upline. Finds Arivazagan instead. Pantanople there in support, pushing towards the near sideline. Pan closing down on the mark. We see Kieran Allen pushing towards that near sideline in the end zone, looking for an option. It's not going to come. It's Burris far sideline. Finds Jordan. Pantanople gets there. That's going to be the point.
Mincher may have had a play on that. It was difficult to tell from our vantage point on this side of the field, but yeah, really clean movement. Yeah, nice movement across the field, finding those open options from Euphoria. Great point.
That is going to take Euphoria to 14 over Blue Skies, currently on 6. So far, this half has gone unanswered. So it's just been the first hold of the game and then break, back to back. So Blue Skies feeling a little bit maybe flat coming out of the second half. It'd be really nice to see something really fire up, an offensive hold here and a couple of breaks to really keep the game competitive.
Yes.
Euphoria probably don't want that. If they can put this one away now, it gives them a lot more rest, gives them some time to reconsolidate and get their heads tight and right for their final game, which is going to be after this. Could be the final of the tournament.
Could be it. Yeah, Euphoria just really turning up for this half. Really showing us that yeah, they want to win this game, and this could be it. They need to grind through a defensive possession, a defensive play first, though. Generate that turnover before they cinch it on offense. So they've got a slightly, a longer path at this point than Blue Skies do. But this is the last opportunity for Blue Skies. Either they stop it here and they, run with it, hop on that comeback train, choo, or yeah, it could be it. We'll see what they have in store now.
Crane Fields find Mincher. Forder nearly takes a bite out of it. Chase pressured a little bit tightly by Haney, so he gets looked off in favor of Mercer as Morris looks to close. Near sideline, Dudley Bestow bails out of his undercut, decides to turn it into a deep cut. Goes back to Mincher, marked by Close Kong. We see Chase coming back into that handler space. Nice little backhand find. Emery Crane, Dan Forder looking for the next threat, but he lets the big shot go up, looking for Mercer. Can Morris get there? No, he cannot.
That is what we wanted to see from Blue Skies, what we've been looking for, and why they're here in the semifinals right now was points like that.
Woo! Oh my goodness, Mercer, just a clutch receiver. I mean, it's one of those things where being able to watch him in a couple of games throughout this tournament has just been phenomenal. He's done some amazing work for Blue Skies. We talk a lot about Emery Crane and Hippolyte because of the handle work they're doing. Mincher as well coming back to support, and Dudley Bestow, who has just had some fantastic throws. But really, like, Mercer with the wheels, just giving those real heavy hitters such a good target in the end zone. Just fantastic. So it's going to be 7-14 now. A hold by Euphoria is going to win them the game. Nothing other than aggression on defense and perfection on offense is going to allow Blue Skies to walk away with the win.
And El Copa, I think you said it quite succinctly. We could have you in the booth here with us right now. You've said that was clean, and I think that's all. We could say a whole lot more about that, but in essence, that's exactly what that point was. I loved the classic movement, finding those open options, working together as a unit, as a team, and really we can look at each of those individual players, how they threw, how they got open, and what happened. But really, as a unit, Blue Skies showing their strong teamwork together, and love to see that.
Knight with the pull for what Euphoria are hoping is going to be the last point of the game. We see Fowler field early. There's Cook available as a quick centering option, supported by Tom Fraser. Defense is scrambling a little bit. We find Killen midfield. Looks to Cook towards the far sideline. Hands are up, looking for a big wide swing. Edmonds looks to get a bite, but Fiola finds hands to it. Burris can't get to it. A little bit of a miscommunication. Dudley Bestow calling for calm.
He's pushing his hands down. He's saying, yeah, let's slow this hot boil to a simmer. Finding the insides. Oh, I love this. Blue Skies are, they're coming back. Look at these clean throws and catches they're making. Assessing the options, finding the players. From the sideline, looking for a push
Chase
pass.
has to go wide, finds Mercer to Mincher.
Mincher assessing it. A quick little hammer fake before again finding the open side. Look at Mercer!
Another timeout called.
Not a bad call. I should say the opposite, actually. I quite like that call. A veteran move.
My goodness. It is nighttime in the middle of the day, despite these Blue Skies. So number 4, Joe Knight for the Blue Skies is going to call another timeout. That's a couple times we've actually seen that really veteran leadership, just recognizing, hey, things are boiling a little bit out of control. Let's get a wooden spoon on top of that pot and bring it back down to a simmer. Just let's take some moments to talk about things, call ourselves a play as well. They're only maybe 10 meters away from a score here. You've got Joe Knight, you've got some really solid players.
So one thing, we're seeing the other game happening right now, so thanks to our camera up high up top. Again, this is Outbreak versus NOS, that North Island team, Outbreak over from Australia across the pond. Just some action happening over there. Bringing the attention back to this game, though, and what's happening this time out, I'm really stoked because this is the first time out we've seen this entire tournament on the end zone line. They're knocking on heaven's door. They're, up in the sky, up in heaven, so maybe that's a bit far-fetched. But I really like that call. I mean, it's such a veteran move, as we said, to call it on the end zone line, because what this allows is for the offense to make a specific play. If it's one throw, one catch to score the point, it allows you to discuss, be creative with your strategy, and discuss what the options are. And they need this. They really need this point so badly. Euphoria, I mean, they're very aware of that. And when you don't know what strategy is coming, it's so much harder to defend against. But there's so much that they could have in store, so many different strategies they could pull out of the back pocket. And I love that this is the first time this tournament we're seeing this being called.
Yeah, I mean, and one of the biggest things that we typically see in Ultimate of this level and above is that when you're this close to an end zone, you call a timeout, you're typically looking to use a vertical stack to have some sort of end zone play. And I would not be surprised if we actually see Euphoria set up a bracket, just try and guard both sides, sort of have a couple of players on each side. And that can often be enough to cause just a little bit of hesitation in any isolation cutters or any structure in that end zone play, and that can often be enough to to at least slow everything down and force them back a little bit, force them to kind of reevaluate what their options are.
And we have talked about in the end zone, if a zone is being run, oftentimes people switch to match. This is a prime example of what Blair's talking about here. If you maintain a bracketing in the end zone, it is in essence a sort of zone, and it can be really helpful in shutting down options like this, especially with a player so fast as Mercer, but he's there anyway! How can you stop something that fast?
He's only gone and done it.
Yeah, it's tough. When you're playing such strong defense, you know exactly where the offense is going to go. I reminisce of one time when I marked Zoom Cami Groom herself, Callahan nominee, a player in the States, beat me to the open side just like that, where defense knew that's exactly where he was going, the front side of the open cone. But when you have the speed, again, that Mercer has there, it's really, really tough. You can see that just the anguish of, I knew he was going to go there. I knew that's exactly where the point was going to be. But what could I do to stop it? I did my best, but unfortunately, again, with speed such as Mercer's, it's difficult to stop that.
Yeah, and just that front open side cone is such an appealing target, and that's what you're looking for when you're in the end zone. You can call a play, you find your best cutter, and you ask them to run that isolation. I mean, we look at across multiple divisions. We've got probably Rutan in the open division. We're going to have Melody Yong, Noemi Houvelin in the women's division, doing fantastic works that we're going to see from them next weekend. Megan Duffy's another great example in the women's division. Players that we would love to see making that aggressive cut to the open side. They know they're going to get separation. It just makes the throw a lot easier to close out that score. So we're going to see Blue Skies come out on defense now. It's going to be number 33, Jessie Chase, with the disc for the pull. One offensive point from Euphoria is going to see them walk into the finals. It's going to be Cook to field early, working with Burris and Close Kung in a horizontal stack. Keegan Puller looking to push into the deep space. It's Anki Wong on a nice open undercut.
Looking for the options, engaging around.
Threads through, finds Pantanople. Burris to Wong. To Burris again. Threaded through, but it's touched down by Styles. Oh.
Sorry, I don't know what note I hit there. That was really exciting, though. What defense?
We're going to see again, he tries to float the backhand out, and it's just,
yeah.
Styles is stunting on him, and he's going to generate that turnover. Now the question is Blue Sky's going to be able to convert this one? This is exactly what we asked for. I mean, the score was 14-6 at one point, and we said that we hadn't had any answer points, but that's what we're getting to see now. It's two back-to-back from Blue Skies.
And Euphoria now with that same switchy defense that we've seen, it's been serving them really, really well. Also, I mean, they were off to the races before, and it's always tough as defense to catch up when the offense is moving that fast. That heads up away defense.
Huge play by Anki Wong.
Out here, and this is why.
And Puller is going to get the score there on that one. What a fantastic play. That was all set up by Anki Wong, that same heads-up defense, just managing to recognize where the channel was, where the threat was, pulls into it with a layout block. They're going to be able to quickly pick up, find Keegan Puller on a great cut towards that far sideline right at the front cone. Layout grab is going to secure Euphoria a spot in the finals of the 2024 Division 2 New Zealand Ultimate Championships here at Bob Deans Field in Christchurch. We are in a moment.
Goodness gracious. What a way to close it out. You know, that's exactly how you want to see that game closed. But with these high fives on the field, and with the game finishing on such athleticism, such spirit, such athleticism, big congrats to Euphoria for taking that, cinching that victory. And with this game closing, another game right behind us is still happening. So big congrats, but we can pivot over for those of you who would like to stay on the screen and see, just check in with what's happening over on the opposite side. Again, we have Outbreak hailing from Australia versus NOS, which is a North Island team here at Div 2.
Putting a big shot up, looking for Troy Stevenson. He's got good position, but he's not going to be able to come down with that one.
Troy Stevenson.
It's a little bit like radio for you folks at home, I'm imagining. But either way, we're going to see Outbreak. We're going to have Baddox with the disc, looking to initiate.
And here we are, just pivoting. So we're seeing the sideline. We're seeing the wide view of the field there. Swinging back to the middle. So they're looking to repeat what they missed there with that long shot.
Oh, massive super dump.
All the way back to Neil, finds Stevenson.
I mean, when you're a player such as Neil, though, who has such a repertoire, such an arsenal of throws in his back pocket, a super reset, losing those yards isn't really an issue. The disc goes back up. Neil looking for the give and go and putting it in the end zone for a point. Nos with high fives all around, making the score 14-13, folks. Before, when we first checked in, they were up so far. It was 7-1. Then they brought it up to 7-5. Now, wow! Adelaide coming out of the woodwork and really bringing it firing. You put it under pressure. Maybe Nos trying to come out with a vaccine that really is just not that efficacious against the pandemic super outbreak that Adelaide has brought over here to Aotearoa, New Zealand. We've updated the score now, so we can see Nos is ahead by 1. They were tied for that point, and folks, this is the game to 15. Wow. Thank you for staying with us. I'm really stoked that we get to see the final of this semi-final to determine who will be facing off against Euphoria in the finals of the Open's Division 2 Ultimate Championships here in Otutahi, Christchurch.
And so the pull is going to go up. We're going to see Outbreak Field. Rex Vanderkop to Baddix. Pushes far sideline, finds Lachlan Earl. Up towards the sideline to find Buckland. Looks like a pick has been called.
So comms on the field just determining where the disc should go back to, what the stall should be, and making sure that players are in the same position that they were when the call was made. There's been a violation on the fields. Probably, I'm assuming the disc went live, or people were making cuts before it was actually checked in. So again, everyone needs to go back to where they were when the pick was called. Just, comms on the field, ensure everyone's on the same page before the disc is counted in again. A clean start, centering, really nice movement, handler movement, finding that open swing.
Earl with a great aggressive backhand, finds Baddix, pushing towards the near sideline, chips one up. That's Meyer with the disc now, hoping to close out and bring it back to a universe point finish. Baddix goes wide to Buckland.
Buckland showing again, as we saw previously, he's always just knows where to be. Really good heads-up game awareness to support his teammates, knowing where he needs to be for those continuations or those initial looks.
Meyer calling Vanderkop all the way through, has to go wide, losing a lot of yards to find Buckland. To find Baddix, sorry.
That said, also there's really nice
Buckland.
swing movement happening, and I think that can be also recognized due to the soft marks that Nos is putting on all of the throwers. Here we have a bit more aggression, but yeah, right now Outbreak doing a really great job of swinging the disc, going downfield, and an action roll.
Looks like that's going to be called in. That's going to take us to a universe point semi between Outbreak from Adelaide and Nas from somewhere in the North Island.
This is the comeback of, the comeback of the semis, comeback of the day. What an incredible match we're seeing the tail end of over here.
And so it all comes down to this. Nas going to send out their 7 best offensive players, possibly even all-rounders, just in case they generate a turn. And Outbreak to send out their 7 best.
This is, as Blair just said, universe line. So with the universe points, you're putting out the universe line as well, and that is the top players. They might be the top players on the team, they might be the top players who are firing most of that time, the players who you've structured your strategy around, whoever you think is most likely to win the point, because right now it's a game to 1. Both teams are at 0, and whoever can cinch this victory is going to go on to the finals. important also to see, I want to recognize that all of Outbreak out there, they're listening to the strategy, they're supporting their teams, as we were just discussing in this previous game with Euphoria versus Blue Skies over here, spreading the team on the sideline, having both sidelines covered, energy coming from the players on the sideline, talking about heads up on defense, where the defenders are, where the aggressive spaces are, where the disc might be going, as well as on offense, letting the handler, the throwers know who's open, what opportunities are available, can make all the difference. You know, we've got the O-line, the D-line, and the sideline, and they can be just as influential winning the game right now as all the players in the field.
It all comes down to this.
Right now, Outbreak do need to score. I mean, they've got a slightly harder task. They need to get that defensive play and then follow up with an offensive point. Right now, Nas just needs to score one offensive point. How are they going to do it?
Altaf Ali pushing deep, getting a lot of separation, but they're not going to put it up for him.
A big
Halbin
fake deep from Halbin.
Manages to get Neil on an upline cut. Nice and aggressive. Baddock slowly closing the trap. It's Stevenson right on the sideline.
There's been a call on the field. You may hear the loud fans on the sideline here as they're supporting their respective teams on the field.
We're also seeing Euphoria rush over, eager to find out who their opponent will be in the final. Neil has it now.
It's so much experience and tenure among these handlers. We've seen them consistently in the Division 1, division really, of the New Zealand Ultimate Championships, winning tournaments on those winning teams. Here they are in Division 2. So they have a lot of experience playing under pressure, representing New Zealand internationally. Yeah, and playing at that highest level. So they know how to perform under pressure here. Australia as well. I mean, we've got Outbreak, and a lot of these players have also, played at these highest levels as well. Right now, putting pressure on those defensive looks. The stall is getting high as they swing to the middle.
Nice and aggressive from both sides. Right on the doorstep. Is he just going to put something up? Yes, he is. It's going to be the score. It's going to be Nas in the final against Euphoria. A narrow victory, 15-14 over the side from Adelaide. So we will be back for our final match between Euphoria and Nas, a North Island clash, very, very soon. But until then, as always, my name is Blair Monroe.
I'm Kelsey Bielek.
Thank you so much for watching. We'll be back soon.
ULTI.TV.